I'm back. I'm back. So, Chan, while we wait for Sporty to join us, um, can you join me for a second? So nice of you to join us back.
Girl, hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. I don't know what happened. I told y'all anything can happen in Mexico.
Listen, it happens.
Anything can happen in Mexico.
That's
And
because they
I
don't
do
have no boundaries. They just have borders.
really. That's what you gonna do.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Girl, look.
You know.
Today at least.
Yeah.
Let me cover my drink name so I can.
Well, you know what? I'm trying to figure out, what is really happening, what's really going on with our thing here. Because the last 2 weeks that we've been here in Mexico, I'm gonna have to set some boundaries for Mexico
Clearly.
because apparently they don't understand how I roll.
No, they don't, especially at a hotel. Lord Jesus. I swear, the very first time, that reminds me, the very first time that I went live with you when we were on location together,
Mhm. Yes.
I will never forget. It was, you had both your angels, and
Mm-hmm.
all you knew was we were getting ready to do this show live in this hotel, period. And we had guests coming to this hotel lobby.
Mm-hmm.
They knew we were coming,
Mm-hmm.
and this should have been done because you set the parameters for how this show was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be goddamn, you just looked at me and like, get my coffee and then fix it. So I
Fix
was
it.
like,
Fix
that's
it.
almost as bad as a no. It was like, I don't want to hear anything other than, is it fixed? So I knew, because that boundary was set, I couldn't come back to you with anything but the answer to your fix it. And when I went and got the answer to your fix it, and then he fixed it, then some, oh boy, relief is not even the word that can explain, how I felt. And you were fine. You were like, look, fix it. And that was definitely an example of, Sporty, don't take it personally. Just fix it. Because we
That's
got to
all I
get this
want is
done.
it fixed. That's all I want is it fixed.
That's
I
it.
don't
All of
want
this
anything
fixed.
special. I don't want anything extra. I just want it fixed.
And I was like,
Right?
oh my God, she's difficult. And I was like, well, no, we need this fixed so we can do our show. So it was really all about the team getting the work done so that, we could be the best support to make it work and run
Yep.
smoothly. The audience
Speaking
had no clue the hell we went through until we told them what we did. But
right.
they had a good show that night.
All right. So since we got about 45 minutes left.
Do we, girl?
Yeah, girl. That's it. That's all we got left. Let's go on ahead and finish talking about this whole boundaries things. For those of you guys who just may be joining us, excuse me, you may have missed the first part of this conversation we were on, and somehow we got disconnected, but we're back. You can't get rid of us that easily. And tonight's topic is no is a complete sentence, right? It means that we are talking about setting boundaries. And one of the things that I think that's important, one of the things that I think is important is that we talk about some of the things that what it means when we don't have healthy boundaries set up. What are the pitfalls of not having boundaries? Healthy
People
ones.
take advantage.
Well, one of them is these are signs that you know you have unhealthy boundaries or lack of boundaries happening in your life. Okay?
Interesting.
Well, are you ready?
Girl, yes. I'm curious now.
All right. A sign that you have unhealthy boundaries or you have no boundaries set up is that you go against your own personal values or your own personal belief system in order to please others. You know this is something you have no business doing based on your belief system, but because you don't want somebody to be angry with you, you don't want somebody to reject you, you don't want somebody to judge you, you don't want somebody to feel some kind of way, and you do it anyway.
And I think we all are guilty of that.
The hell we are.
Well, at one point in time, I wouldn't say once you have those things set up, I would say that you're going to tell me that in your entire 25 years of life, Kiki, that you have never compromised yourself to please someone else.
Compromise myself?
Oh, well, or did what you just did, skipped over one of your boundaries to make someone else happy. And all
well, that wasn't the issue. It wasn't about skipping over my boundary. It was about compromising my personal values or belief system. And that's very different.
That is different. And you've never done that?
Not my values, no.
Okay. Well, that's commendable because I can't say that. I'm not going to lie to the people.
Again, but we know my memory is bad, so I might not remember it. I may have blocked it out.
Yeah, your memory is Cousin Chan.
Right, that's exactly. All my memory are other people. They remind me. They keep me in check because you can't judge you can't use mine. But off my own right now, I can't think where I've compromised my values. No, to make somebody else happy. Another sign that you have unhealthy boundaries set up or no boundaries at all. You give as much as you can give for the sake of giving. Not because you want to give it, not because you have it to give, but you give it just for the sake of giving.
Puppy dog, look, please elaborate in layman's terms.
There are people who do things and give of themselves because they can, not because they can in an altruistic way, but because one, that is the expectation that others may have or that they may have imposed upon themselves.
Gotcha. Understood.
Not because
so for instance, if you're the go-to person in your family and you may not have that to give, but you give it anyway because they expect you to do it, so you just do it. That's what you mean? Gotcha. Yeah. Have you ever done that, Kiki?
Yes, I have. And I tell you this much.
You ain't gonna do it no more?
But
because I know that boundary. You're not gonna do that no more. Been there, done that. Don't want the t-shirt.
And I'll put it like this. I will not do it in the way that I did it.
Okay.
Because the way that because again, remember I said, whenever you shut something down completely, it's not healthy. My thing is I will not do it in the way that I did it before.
Okay. Makes
Because
sense.
before, I used to do it in a way that did not empower them to do it for themselves. I put them in a position to always have to come to me instead of putting them in a position to do it for themselves and not have to need me.
So the bottom line is you taught them how to fish instead of coming to get fish.
No, I gave them fish instead of teaching them how to fish.
But I'm saying now they know how to fish so they don't have to come and get it.
If they don't know how to fish, they know that they better come to me to find out how to fish, not to get a fish.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, they know that they cannot ask me for a fish. They know they have to ask me, Kiki, can you show me how to fish?
Right, like I want you to teach me how to make that you know what stuff.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Right. Not
And
can
see,
you
I knew
make
how
it.
to ask that question too. I ain't say Kiki make this. I said Kiki
Right.
show me this.
Right. Right.
Yes, I love it. I love it. This is so much fun.
Another thing that's a reflection of the fact that you have lack of healthy boundaries and no boundaries at all is that you let others define you. And let's just take it back to that whole conversation you were just talking about with family. You're the responsible one. You let that person, you let your family define you as that. You have to now take ownership of your place and who you are and say, you know what? That's not who I am. Does that mean that you got to go and trick off and be irresponsible? No, but you have to put your foot down and say, okay, I'm not playing that role. You can't cast me in that role. I didn't audition for it. Right.
See, now that's one of those, I'm gonna put a pin in you right there because to me, granted, I set that up, okay, and now that I want to change that and I've set a different boundary, it's like I'm really the bad guy now,
That's
because
always going to happen. I said that in the beginning. When you don't speak up and set the boundary in the beginning, once they do it once, they feel empowered to do it again. And if you don't call it out and then in that moment and you just let it go, when you decide to speak up about it, then you're the one that's tripping.
But that doesn't mean you still shouldn't set that boundary, right?
Correct.
Because even
You
though
should
in their
absolutely still
eyes,
set
I'm
that
tripping,
boundary.
right? Because I've now had enough, and I'm like, okay, this is where I draw the line, and
Right.
this no longer can happen. This is the way we proceed from this point on in
Right.
these types of situations.
But the truthful conversation that can happen, the dialogue, you know what? I apologize. Because somewhere along the line, I taught you that this was how things were going to be. And I wasn't okay with it. And I didn't say anything. So I apologize to you for not being truthful about that. But now that I am, this is the way things are going to have to proceed from this day forward.
They still gonna say I don't get no fuck.
I don't give a rat's ass what they think. Because what you've done is you acknowledged your part in this shit. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether they want to take it or not, that's on them. It's no longer your problem anymore. You've owned your part in the crap, and now you've corrected the problem.
Okay.
Now, whether they want to go along with it, that's on them, and that's no consequence to you. It's no my problem.
I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, it's not.
Right.
Gotcha.
Another thing too is that you get a lot of people get in relationships, and everything is we, like we French or some shit. And be like, what about you, bitch? We used to, you know what I mean? You used to, now it's just we. You can't go nowhere without this mother. You can't say nothing unless you get it, unless you check with him first. You can't, you know what I mean? Not to say that you're disrespectful of your relationship, because you should consider the feelings of the person that you're with, right? However, you should not be unable to exist without them.
Now, that's another
merged into one person, huh?
That's another boundary that people get offended by. So let's say, for instance, you, me and Chan, we go out every weekend, we do this, we hang out, we do that. But now all of a sudden, Jan has a boyfriend and she can't come kick it with me and Kiki like she used to. And we have a problem with that. Come on, why you can't go? And so she set a boundary like, okay, well, now I have this relationship and, you know, this is what's going on. I still have time for my friends, but I still have to, you know, pay attention to this too. So the people who are feeling neglected and left out, which would be being you, we either have to respect that boundary, or people lose friendships over the fact that they have a new spouse or significant other and they can't participate like they did with the rest of us.
Here's the problem. If you and I cannot understand in our tiny little pea brains that her situation has changed, so that now her interactions may change. Now, there's a difference between she can't kick it with us all the time,
right,
versus she ain't kicking it with us at all, right? There's a big difference.
Because that all would be a red flag.
It all would be a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, where are they in this relationship? Is this new, where they need to start spending more time together so they can get to know each other and understand those things, certain things about each other?
Right.
You know, those are the things that I'm saying. It's just that sometimes people think, you know, it's all about me. It's not about you at all. So while we in our feelings because Chan got a man and she can't do the shit that we doing all the time, that's our shit. That's not Chan shit.
Right. And PDA world, I'm not saying that Chan has a man. This is just a scenario. She may not. But
and if she does, trust and believe, if she want to go kick it, she gonna fucking go and kick it.
Yeah, that's Chan. So, you know, she gonna do what she do.
Yes, man or no man, she gonna kick it, right? He just gonna have to understand there's certain things that's going on. You know. Now, if he can't get that, that's on him. Now, are we encouraging her like, fuck him, girl? He needs it. Why he wants you up under him? No, we're not doing that. Because there's a boundary that she would need to set with us. Like, we're not gonna do that. Remember in that scene from Wait to Exhale, she was like, Jackie. No, I'm sorry, that was what's love got to do with
Yep.
Don't do that.
Yep, that's what she said.
Now, yes, you know, I'm with a bloody mouth and a bloody lip and busted my egg, you know. Yeah, but I'm not gonna let you do that. Mm-hmm. Right? That's the boundary she set. Okay.
Now, what happens when, you know, now that we're in relationship conversation, what happens when you have people who don't, how do you set the boundaries with people to stay out of your business, even though they're close to you? And I really think that bears explanation. I mean, I understand what to do, but there are some people who really don't get it about, you know, you're my best friend, you're this, so I have a right to be all up in your business. You know what I'm saying? And people seem to take that for granted.
Let me answer that question for you. Best friend, sister, mother, brother, cousin, soror, whatever. You don't have any rights when it comes to me, right? I am an autonomous creature, right? The only right you have is a right that you give yourself to love me, respect me, my choices, and so on and so forth. But in terms of how my life lived, what goes on in my life, you don't have a right to that. That is a privilege that I allow you, right? I allow you the privilege of having access to me. Now, you abuse that privilege, it can be revoked. Somebody can't take your right. They can take your privilege. Right?
Like, you no longer can be in this.
Right. So when you talk about how to keep people out your business, just do that. Just keep them out of your business. If that means that you need to put some distance between you and said person so they don't have anything to go back and get all up in, then that's what you have to do. But you have to set boundaries and stick to them. Now, another thing, since you're talking about relationships, another thing that people do when they haven't set healthy boundaries is that they expect for other people to automatically fill their needs. No explanation, no navigation, no nothing. They're just like, well, he should already know that. She should know that. No. That's not the case. And you need to set healthy boundaries, because what's going to happen is, just like they don't know what to do to make you happy, they won't know what it is that makes you unhappy either.
Makes sense.
So when they traipse down that road to unhappiness for you, you got a problem, because you didn't specify, you didn't completely effectively articulate your wants, needs, and expectations. And so that's shame on you.
That makes sense.
You want him to talk to you at least once a day, then you need to say that, you know what? I need to be in communication with you at least once a day. You know, that way I know that we're still connected. Not that I think one day it's going to make us disconnected, but that's just how I navigate in my relationship space. If you don't say that, but that's your expectation, and then he don't do it, guess what? Whose fault is that?
My very own.
Thank you. So there it is. We talked about don't let people make you feel guilty when you say no or when you set a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
If you allow them to do that, you haven't set a severe enough boundary, right?
This is true.
When you don't speak up when there's a problem, you haven't set boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's fixed. Go.
Okay. I'm hearing some shuffling. I don't know what you're doing over there, but let's see here. When you just completely fall apart when that person is no longer there, or other people can't take care of your needs for you. When you become so codependent, or you feel so entitled that haven't been properly set boundaries.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: the only person in this planet that owes you something is you. Nothing. No friend, no husband, no girlfriend, no boyfriend, no nothing. They don't owe you anything. Anything that they do for you, any benefit that you have, any authority that you might have, any insight that you have, that's something that is given to you. And it is given to you freely of their own volition, with whatever limits and boundaries that they may have. However, they don't owe you that shit. If I, every Sunday, send you a good morning text message, and I miss 3 Sundays in a row, I don't owe you that text message every Sunday.
That's true.
So you shouldn't feel entitled to that. Is it nice? Yes. But to have an attitude or to get all in your feelings, because that's not what I'm doing now, I don't owe you that. If every time we went out to eat, I'm the one who paid, and then one time we go out and I'm looking at you like, where's your card? Where's your money? And you and your feelings about it, I'm not entitled to pay for your shit. Just because I chose to do so, that's on me.
Right.
But you have a lot of people who will feel entitled that that's the case because this person, the payer, has not set healthy boundaries. And now you all in your feelings because I ain't paid for your dinner. Well, she should at least tell you. You gonna find all kind of reasons to justify why I'm fucking wrong for not paying your goddamn bill. Well, she should have told me that she was gonna make me pay, or that I needed to. Why I got to tell you that you need to bring money to pay for your shit? like, where'd that come from? Where they do that? Right? Another thing is that a lot of people do this. So pay very close attention. When you have not set healthy boundaries for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, when you fall in love every 5 minutes with somebody you barely know, 1 minute you in shambles, your heart broken about this, that, and the other, and you meet somebody and 2 weeks later, this is the one. You ain't set no goddamn boundaries for yourself.
Not a one.
And you head down Heartbreak Road and you gonna get a room at Heartbreak Hotel. And guess what? I ain't gonna feel sorry for you.
Are you eating on air? Are you breaking one of your own boundaries?
No, that's a rule, not a boundary. Right? That is on you. Stop doing that, folks. Set some boundaries for yourself. Make people accountable for things. Let him set a standard. Meaning, because in a week or so, he hasn't done enough or put enough time in to create a pattern.
True.
So you don't really know.
Standard.
I'm sorry?
You have to set a standard for them to follow.
Right. Because here's the thing. Consistency is what's going to make or break any situation. And in a week or 2 weeks, he ain't had enough time to be consistent or inconsistent. That's not enough time to even be able to gauge consistency.
And see, lack of follow through is definitely a clear sign of not following boundaries or setting them, you know, because if you're not going to follow through with it, then why set it?
Well, sometimes people ain't set up something. It's an expectation that you impose and expect that person to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, Sporty.
Yes.
Why are you so close?
Well, because I switched devices.
Okay.
I had no choice.
All right.
I was trying to do a smooth transition.
That's one of those things that we need to be conscious of, people. Just like Spuddy was saying, is that why start something you're not going to finish it, this, that, and the other. Again, you need to be clear that they're the ones that actually started it and you didn't in your head.
Right.
Because a lot of times we will impose our own expectations based on what we want and not based on what is actually going on in front of us.
True.
So we need to be mindful of that we are dealing in the actual reality, not the reality that exists that
up here.
Yeah, because this would get you fucked up every single time.
Real quick.
Every single time. That's why I be telling people, you have to tell me, because I don't know. And I'll ask shit like, are you flirting with me? Because I don't assume. I don't assume that everybody flirting with me. But I don't want to miss it if you are, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you flirting with me? Like, yeah, what you thought I was doing? I don't know. I just thought you was being friendly. I mean, I don't know. Everybody, I'm a flirt, so I didn't know if you was flirting just because that's who you are, or if you actually were, right?
Like, let me double check.
Right. Do you miss me? I don't know. Why you ask me that? You know I do. No, I don't. I need you to tell me these things, right? I'm not going to assume that you do. And then later on, I'd be like, I thought you missed me. And you'd be like, why the fuck you think that? I never said that shit, right?
That is so bogus. Oh,
what gave you that impression?
What makes you think some shit like that?
Right. How we get there? How did we get to me missing you? I ain't said shit about that, right? But it happens. It happens. Right? So you set an expectation, you set a boundary. But again, be confident and understand why you are setting that boundary. Not because you mad or you pissed off or you hurt. You're setting that boundary because you know what that felt like and you don't want to go through that again. Not because all men are dogs, but because that man was a dog and you want to recalibrate your radar so that you don't get another one of the motherfuckers on your hook. See the difference?
Someone just texted me a question for you.
All right, bring it.
Sporty, can you and Kiki explain to me why my boundaries fail?
I don't know what your boundaries are.
She doesn't know what your boundaries are.
Well, here's the thing. I can give you a generic answer. A generic answer would be your boundaries fail because 1, they weren't rooted in a strong enough why. 2, you didn't hold yourself accountable to keeping them. And 3, you allowed other people to, for whatever reason, influence where that boundary lied. So, like she said, if you don't respect your boundary, why the fuck would I? If you say no, and then I can say 2 things to make you change it, why the fuck wouldn't I just do that?
Makes sense to me. And for that particular person, even though that was a generic blanket answer, that was a perfect answer. Absolutely perfect. So
I like to try to tailor my responses to everybody's situation because, again, there's no hard and fast rule because we're all individuals. We come from different places. We do different things, So That's why I try to take the personalized, response to it. But, in a general sense, that would be why.
Someone is, I don't know why people are now texting. Why have you set this boundary that you won't let me holler at your girl Kiki?
She just set that boundary. I did. Next.
And I'm gonna say this about my friends, and I really, at this point, I don't care how people take it. I have a standard of what type of friend I would present to Kiki. And if I feel like that you're not even at her pay grade, I'm not even gonna waste her time telling her that you exist. You got to get your shit together before you can try to holler at my people. You're not ready.
And let's just say, when she's talking about pay grade, she means it in more than one way. She means financial pay grade, emotional pay grade, spiritual pay grade, all of that shit. If you're not on my level, if you can't meet or exceed where I am, on all those levels, not just on one. You can't have your paper right, but all your other shit fucked up, right? Or have all your other shit together and your paper fucked up. You can't do that. It's got to be all
because then she gonna look at me like, Sporty, what's wrong with you? You know better. So I'm not even gonna put myself in the position to put you to get your feelings hurt.
Some people just need to get their feelings hurt because they don't believe fat meat is greasy or sport. It's a chance I can't teach you how. Some people you gotta let them go so they can get their face cracked. Anyway, let's time for our SPDA letter.
Ooh, letter time.
It's letter time.
I'm with that.
All right, let's go ahead and do this disclaimer, and we'll get this letter on the way.
Let's go.
At some point, you will be offended by something said on our show, but Playing Devil's Advocate is meant to be a forum for open, honest, and more importantly, judgment-free dialogue. The opinions expressed here may not necessarily be those of our hosts or the show in general, but we're willing to have the uncomfortable conversations so that we can heal and find solutions for our listeners and quite possibly ourselves. Enjoy the rest of the show.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
All right, today's SPDA letter is being brought to you by our producers, Drink of the Week. If you have not had a chance to check out Harry Carey, I believe it was, now's your time to do so. You can go to our Facebook wall, and that's at facebook.com/Playing Devil's Advocate, and try out the drink. Let Cousin Chan know what you think. All right. So I'm going to say this to you, Sporty. Tell your people to stop texting you because we can hear that.
Stop texting me, y'all. She can hear that.
Okay. Yes, I hear the vibrating. I hear all the texting back and forth. Stop it. We did in the middle of a show. Get in the chat room. Do what you got to do. Post our Facebook wall at facebook.com/Playing Devil's Advocate. Send us a tweet at PDA_Miss Kiki. But stop texting her. All right. Anyway, here's the letter. Dear PDA, I started dating a young lady a couple months ago, and the sparks are definitely there. We've been hanging out a lot, and we both really do like each other. We agreed to take it slow, even though it's been hard. I feel like I have to live up to the values that I've been taught. I'm a leader in my church, and one of the things that I committed to was celibacy. Mm-hmm. I'm a grown man who was previously married, but I've been single for a long time. Sporty, wow. Mute yourself. But I've been single for a long time. I'm not sure how long I can hold out given my new circumstances. It's way too soon to think about getting married, and I wouldn't want to rush to that extreme just because I'm wanting to be intimate with this woman. I'm really in a difficult spot now. I like her a lot, but I'm not sure how to manage this. Signed, I'm too old for this. Sporty, unmute yourself now because you're saying wow.
I did say wow.
I read your lips. You were like, wow. Go ahead. You're unmuted again. There you go.
I'm like, wow. All I can say is wow. You know, that really ties into everything that you've, explained tonight, that you tried to teach tonight. And, you have to be firm in what you set for your boundaries, and they are what they are. There is no compromising who you are to please someone else. Roses are red, violets are blue. These are your boundaries. Stick to what works for you.
All right. I'm too old for this. Let me say this to you. I don't think you would be compromising your boundaries for someone else. I think what you're struggling with is the boundary that you set for yourself that you now want to cross. Right? I don't think she putting pressure on you. Do me, baby. Right? Maybe she ain't. I don't know, right? But I can tell you this: it could be me, right? I wouldn't hitch my wagon to a dude that's telling me he's celibate. I got needs. No, I'm just kidding. That makes me sound so shallow. No, it's not shallow. It's honest. It's truthful. Anyway, back to reality. The struggle that you're having is the struggle between what's natural and what's unnatural. Now, if you're practicing celibacy because you want to keep some clarity and do some other things here, then that's fine. But if you're practicing celibacy because your church, because you said I'm a leader in my church, and you worried about what people gonna think, well, you're already divorced. That's already not necessarily a great thing in terms of the church, right? So, and is the church in the bedroom with you?
Right.
Furthermore, there are many things that you can do with her other than actually penetrating her. So, in case you want some tips on everything but penetration, you can go back to our archives because we did a 2-part show on that. Everything but penetration. That's the name of the show. So you can go back there, listen to the archives, and find out all the wonderful things that y'all can do to experience intimacy with each other without actually having sex. So with that being said, make sure you examine the why you have chosen to be celibate, and also understand the reason why you are in this struggle between staying celibate, not staying celibate, staying celibate, not staying celibate, right? It's too early to ask her to marry me, but I want to do her. Is that churchly? I'm not judging. I ain't judging at all. You got needs, man. It's not natural for you not to have sex. It's not natural. But I digress. With that being said, like I said, go back and listen to Everything But Penetration, parts 1 and 2, and go ahead and indulge in those things. Set your boundaries, though. Say, I'm not going to go that far, but I'll go this far. That kind of thing. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. I can't tell you to go ahead and bang her. I can't tell you not to. That's completely up to you, because ultimately you're going to have to live with that decision that you've made. If you go against something that you think is value-based, for a momentary, carnal act, you may regret it because it might not be good. And then you might feel guilty. So I would never tell you to do that, but just examine why you came up with it. And is it important enough? Okay, because the why always determines the what. Okay. All right, there you go. I'm too old for this. All right. What'd you say? Indeed?
Yes, I did. Indeed.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Especially for a man.
I know. And it's really weird that you would think that letter would come from a female. But, I guess there are some people, men.
It sounds to me like he's, pretty evolved. He's a pretty evolved guy, minus the whole organized religion thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He hasn't completely come out of his brainwash yet. Right. But I do believe that he's in tune with understanding that it's too soon to go this far, but is this too far? And, this is a boundary. So I commend him for coming forward and asking that question, because it can be perceived by other people as that's weak. That's supposed to, you know how guys try to do it.
Right.
The reality of the situation is that he's at a crisis of conscience right now.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But most of us don't stop to have that moment, right? And think things through. We just go ahead and act. And he's taking that moment to think it through. And, good for you. Good for you. That's setting a boundary and sticking to it. Now, here's what I want to tell you guys about boundaries. Because we are ever evolving creatures. We should be, right? You should be learning and growing and expanding every single day. Understand that with that growth, with that learning, that knowledge that you acquire, those boundaries may change. Don't ever become so rigid that you feel like it has to stay this way. You can adjust them. But you make sure that when you're adjusting them for you, not for other people.
Exactly.
Because ultimately, this is your life. Ultimately, when everybody has washed away or gone away or done what they're going to do, it's only going to be you left. And you need to be able to look at that person in the mirror and say, you know what, I like you. And the reason why I like you is because you had conviction. You stuck to him. You were true to yourself. You didn't compromise who you are for anyone. You happen to be pretty fun and silly. And you know what I mean? That all those things too. But those are the things that you... Huh?
I said whatever those characteristics are.
Absolutely. Because if you can't look yourself in the mirror and, you feel ashamed to look at the person in the mirror because of some of the choices that you made based on some other people, then that can be problematic. But understand, you can't be that rigid. You have to, it's fluid, because life itself is fluid. And the growth process is fluid.
And I think you'll naturally know when a shift needs to happen. There's always a way for a shift to happen, and it doesn't have to make it be such a hard change.
Right. I will say not everybody is just that in tune yet, but there is a natural shift. If you're paying attention, you will see it. You will feel it.
Makes sense.
That part is true. But you have to be willing to take that moment, that pause, and get rid of all the noise. Have that quiet time with yourself. Evaluate things for yourself without all the noise. Don't call your friends up, and everything doesn't, require. You can call your friends up and ask their opinions and all that stuff. You can write your letters to the Ask PDA at pda.radio@gmail.com with Ask PDA in the subject. You can do that. Right. But at the end of the day, after you've consulted with all your friends and you've emailed us and we've given you our 2 cents, at the end of the moment, you need to sit with yourself in silence and come to that decision that is best for you. Because we can't decide that.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people make the mistake of, especially when it's really hard decisions for them, that they rely on the opinions of others to make those hard decisions. And sometimes the opinions of others is not what's best for you. So I think you're giving a really good sound piece to let people know that the bottom line is you have to ultimately be the person who sets that boundary.
Here's the thing. The person who wants other people to make the answers for them is the person that wants somebody to blame when it doesn't go right.
True.
Right? Well, I listen to you and then this, and this. Well, you should listen to your damn self. Right? Right? So again, I've said before, people who ask for advice already know the answer to their question. They just want you to validate for them that they're doing, what it should be, or what should happen. And like I said before, you have to be the ultimate final judge and jury on that. We can't do it for you. We might want to. There's sometimes I want to shake the fuck out of people and be like, yeah. And if you've been listening to the show for the 7 years that we've been on air, there used to be a soundbite in our intro where it says, if everybody just agreed with me, life would be just so much simpler. And I still believe
You
that.
did used to have that.
If everybody just did what the I said, life would go so much smoother. Trust me. Just do what the fuck I say. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't work that way. So since it doesn't, too bad, so sad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful conversation. We should know how to set healthy boundaries for ourselves. We know what the difference between a healthy boundary and an unhealthy boundary is based on the questions that Sporty kept rattling off at me. And so, again, just make sure that you are being as true to you as you can be. Because at the end of the day, the only person that really matters in that equation, when everything is gone, when everybody's asleep, and there's nothing but you in the silence and the sound of your breath, is you. Those are the only things that matter. All right. So on behalf of our producer, Cousin Chan, our incredible invisible intern, number 3, Mandalay Bay's kidnapped, the Rob Carter, Sporty Spunky Angel, and myself, Kiki, the consummate provocateur. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Well, I'll be broadcasting back from the United States.
Woohoo! Welcome back.
All right. And I might be a little lopsided because I'm going to get this tooth fixed. Dag nabbit. I'm falling apart down here in Mexico. All right. With that being said, good night, guys. Thank you so very much. Remember, we're always uncensored, unscripted, unapologetic. TTFN.
Peace out. Catch you guys next week.